All right, welcome to Old World Gaming. I was on the Warhammer community website, and I just spotted another rearranging. Where is it? Here we go. What's leaving the Warhammer Age of Sigmar range? Now, um, we've seen a lot of stuff leave the range before, and that's things like Empire and Dwarves and various Orcs and Goblin bits, and we know they're coming back out in Warhammer the Old World. So I've got a hunch there'll be some stuff in here that may well be similar. So here we go. So what's leaving the Warhammer Age of Sigmar range? Don't care about those. Here we go. Beastmen, Orcs. I've never played. I think there's a Warcry, are they? Underworlds? I don't know if they're Underworlds or Warcry. Not interested in these. Ooh, Skaven, here we go. Bone Splitters, so Savage Orcs. Those are the Warcry and Underworlds ones, and Beastmen and some other bits. Alright, let's start from the top and have a good look through. So, the latest edition of Warhammer Age of Sigmar on the horizon. News that every single war scroll in the game has been assessed and balanced. Sad but necessary truth that certain miniatures are leaving the range. Every Citadel miniature is a unique piece in the ever-evolving narrative of Warhammer. Unfortunately, we can't continue to sell and support every model we've ever made indefinitely, which is sad because there's a lot of cool stuff they've made in the past. But we've got the made-to-order stuff, which comes out. So, yeah, there we go, swings and roundabouts. As we make new models and new books to explore the background and rules, we have to stop producing and featuring some older models. But just like many of you, we still treasure our collections and older miniatures and still want to be able to use them in games and glorious tales of heroism and adventure on the tabletop. So are these new or are these old? I don't know. I don't know anything about AoS. Or I know, that's not strictly true, I know very, very little about AoS. But these clearly are all Beastmen. And actually these guys here, the Gores, are 6th edition plastic Beastmen. Yeah, they've been out for a long time. All of the Savage Orcs are much newer. I think they're like 8th edition. Yeah, I think they are. Apart from is that Wurzag on foot? It looks like Wurzag anyway. But he doesn't have the his furry squig familiar. That's not a furry one. But yeah, it looks like Wurzag the Orc Shaman. So here we go. Two factions, Beasts of Chaos and Bone Splitters, as well as a number of older Stormcast Eternals from the Sacrosanctum Warrior Chambers, will be receiving free to download digital battle tomes. These will feature new background and rules, fine, and be considered legal for use in competitive play until summer 2025. At this point, they'll move over to Warhammer Legends, and will no longer be supported for competitive play. Because they're coming back to Warhammer the Old World. We encourage you to continue using your collection of casual play, and we'll continue to support this content with rules and balance updates as needed throughout the edition. That's very kind of them. I remember seeing this guy come out. I was like, what is going on with his head, and why is he all lanky and stuff like that? And then I realised he's got this little visor. Well, I say visor, little slit in his helmet here, and he's actually just a normal dude. Well, I say normal loosely. It looks like he's had his hands and his feet amputated with some weird things going on, but he's got a skull like on top of his head. That's not his actual head. But yeah, there we go. So if you like me and had no idea what was going on, but if you're into Age of Sigmar, then you're probably well aware of that. Anyway, so blah blah blah. Yeah, don't care about them. Stormcast Eternals. Are these all? Certain units are fine, so they're retiring all these units. Wow, that's a lot. That's loads. Loads and loads and loads. I mean, it's, I guess if they're replacing them, I don't know. They don't feel that old to me. But when did it come out? 2015? So I guess they're 10 years old. Fine, whatever. I mean, in the old world, we're used to stuff hanging around for a lot longer than 10 years. So this feels, to me, this is quite startling that they're retiring models that are only 10 years old from Age of Sigmar. I don't know why that would be. Is it because they're wanting to make them, like, I don't know, more limited in terms of edition? I'm thinking in terms of like Magic the Gathering now, but it's nowhere near anything like that where stuff's only out for a year or so. But yeah, there we go. It feels. I mean, there's a lot. Look at all that sculpting that's gone into these. Digital sculpting, sure, but still sculpting nonetheless. So a lot of creation effort's gone into them to retire them after. Well, I say 10 years, but not all of these have been out for 10 years. Only like some of them. Anyway, that's enough. Enough talk about Age of Sigmar. Let's talk about the interesting stuff. Okay, Instigators of Vermindoom are also losing a number of old miniatures. You're telling me old? That's well old. Many of which will be replaced with fantastic new ones in due course. But with this radicalism still unfolding, none but the Greyseers can predict where these replacements will fall. It's safe to say that Skaven still have plenty of tricks left up their ragged sleeves. Now, I would imagine part of the driver behind getting rid of a load of these is because, sure, they're old. I mean, like, look at that. That's from Mordheim, that guy. I feel like he is anyway. So if that's true, that's like 98, 99. When did Mordheim come out? Something like that, 98 or 99. So when you consider these guys have been around for 10 years or less than 10 years, and some of these guys have been around since the 90s. I mean, I don't know what that tells you, but like, yeah, they certainly lasted longer and got their money's worth out of them. So while some of these are from like the 90s, there are a whole bunch that are a lot newer. But then, I mean, like, is that Lord Skrolk? I mean, the Giselles are old school as well. The Rattling Gun, these kind of things. The Gutter Runners, as I've mentioned previously. But then there are a whole bunch that are newer plastic ones. So this guy is like 7th edition era. Yeah, in fact, okay, fine, I guess 7th edition, the newest ones. Maybe that's 8th edition, the Clan Rats. But yeah, so it varies between like late 90s and 20, I don't know, pre-2015 probably. But yeah, so there we go. Anyway, now my initial thought was, they're getting ready for bringing them into Warhammer the Old World, but they are currently a Legnds army, and it does say that they are replacing them with new ones for Age of Sigmar. However, I imagine a whole bunch of these will find their way into Warhammer the Old World when they finally get round to the Legnds armies. And I know they did say that the Legnds armies aren't coming into Warhammer the Old World, but hear me out. 2 reasons why I think they will. So in fact, we'll come back to this page. Let's Warhammer the Old World. Let's open this in a new tab. Let's go to that tab. In this one. I think it's in this one here. This is where they talked with the team who are working on Old World, and somewhere down here, what's next? Here we go. So it's fair to say Warhammer the Old World's here to stay, and we've got a wonderful time period to explore. 9 factions, fine, can't do it all at once, but down here it says the scope of the project has grown because the game's been incredibly well received. So this, to my mind, means that they're rethinking what they initially said about the plans for Warhammer the Old World. So if the scope of the project has grown, that means there is potential. Well, this alone to me says there's potential for the additional factions. However, there's also the fact that this is called Warhammer the Old World. Think armies like Lizardmen, Dark Elves are in the New World, and in Warhammer Total War number 1 came out with just the Old World. Total War 2 came out with additional increased the size of the world. So obviously this, for Old World, the map you can see in the background is all focused around the Old World section of the Warhammer world. So they could very well release another edition called Warhammer the New World, which introduces other places like Dark Elves and Lizardmen and stuff like that. So they could do it that way without technically going back and saying, oh, Warhammer the Old World's never going to include any new races. Well, that's because there's no more races in the Old World. Actually, that's not strictly true. You've got undead and stuff like that. But because of the vampire coast in the New World, you could introduce the vampires and be like, oh yeah, well now we're doing the New World. The vampires are here. Oh, and yeah, and they've got loads in the Old World as well. So that could be the workaround, if you like, for how to get more races into the game whilst technically not going back on saying, yeah, we didn't introduce them in Warhammer the Old World. It's the next edition, which is Warhammer the New World. So there we go. So there's to my mind, that's a bit of a loophole. Plus the saying, wherever it was, the scope of the project has grown. So there we go. So to my mind, that is, I would expect. I have no doubt whatsoever that the other races will get supported in time back in Warhammer Fantasy. So there we go. So that was the Skaven. So it looks like, in fairness, these are disappearing because there's a whole new shiny load of Skaven being reintroduced for Age of Sigmar, which is fine. And I would imagine they won't just be new clan rats and new gutterers and stuff like that. They'll be completely wild and wacky, something very different, so that these can come back into the old world and still be used as what they were. And the Age of Sigmar version of Skaven will be something completely different, unrelated to the old world, so that they are clearly distinct and not the Skaven of old. That's my expectation, just like they've done with like the elves. So I can't even remember what they're called, but the ones that worship like the cows or minotaurs or whatever they are, and look awesome and like high elves, but not like high elves. They're not high elves. They have a very different. The aesthetic is different. And then you've got the elves that live under the sea, and I can't even remember what they're called. So you can tell I don't know enough about Age of Sigmar. But yeah, the aesthetic is very, very different for the things that they're doing for Age of Sigmar. Same with the Empire, right? They took all the Empire units out, apart from a few like steam tanks and stuff. But maybe one day they'll replace the steam tank with some crazy, wacky new contraption, and discontinue the steam tank as we know it from Age of Sigmar, because they've got it in Warhammer the Old World. Who knows? We will have to see. Anyway, back on to on topic to stuff that they are discontinuing, which I can probably guarantee is because they all come into the old world and are no longer going to be in Age of Sigmar at all. So let's have a look. From the armoured bulk of the Ironjaws to the lanky cunning of the Cruel Boys, the Orc warclans are as diverse as they are vicious. However, the Bone Splitters sub-faction is also leaving the range. They'll receive Battletome Bone Splitters as a free download, because these will definitely all be coming back into the old world and no longer be represented, I would say, in Age of Sigmar. Ironjaws are turning into their own thing, and they are getting massive hulking brutes, much bigger than the orcs that we've ever had in Warhammer the Old World. So I imagine that's the key distinction, is just these guys are massive, almost ogre size. Like some of them are actually the size of ogres. And then the Cruel Boys are like a cross between old school orcs, like really old school orcs where they're a bit lanky. And I guess they do have some sort of hobgoblins in there, but they're not quite the same hobgoblins as we've had in the old world. So I think that's where they're just the like massive hulking Ironjaws and the lanky Cruel Boys, and I reckon they'll just completely do away with anything else orc in Age of Sigmar, just to again differentiate them from the old world. Wurgog, so not Wurzag, Wurgog, but yeah, maybe it is. I mean, I'm not sure I ever saw that miniature, but maybe that was Wurzag in 8th edition or something, and they made him Wergog for Age of Sigmar. I'm sure there's people listening who will know the answer to that question. So yeah, so there we go. So these guys, yeah, they're all just coming back out for Warhammer Fantasy, or Warhammer the Old World, basically, aren't they? I'm not sure about him, but who knows? I say him, there's like 4 in that mob. I was tempted to get that mob for my Savage Orcs, and then didn't, and I think I missed my opportunity. Although saying that, if he's here, that means he's still out, right? So, for now. I wonder, are they still out? Games Workshop. Alright, yeah, there we go. There's the lanky orcs, aren't they? They've got really pointy chins. They are like a cross between an orc and a goblin. Like a tall, really tall goblin. They've got cool shields though. Okay, so what am I looking for? Age of Sigmar, Destruction, Orc War Clans. Okay, so you know what? I love this. This, to my mind, this is an awesome wyvern. I love it. My son's got one of them, and it's just the coolest model. I've still got an old wyvern that if I need a wyvern in my orc army, then I'll be using my old one. But that is so cool. Oh yeah, so here we go. Last chance to buy. Fine. So they've put the last chance to buy next to them. Who knows? I might pick some of those up. So there we go. So these are still out. I mean, this is a cool aesthetic, and it's clearly not Old World. So yeah, so there we go. So that's obviously where they're moving. So last chance to buy. So they have clearly marked them as last chance to buy on here. So there we go. Good to know. Right, where were we? Back to this one. Okay, so next one, Slaves to Darkness. No, don't really care about those. Previous editions of Warcry and Warhammer Underworlds, but there we go. Blah blah blah. Okay, Beasts of Chaos are leaving Warhammer Age of Sigmar, but they're back in the future, or rather the past. Yes, the Beastmen are returning to their old feeding grounds in the worlds of Legend and Warhammer the Old World. So does that mean they won't have any beasts? No, that's not true. Here we go. Not every beast man is exiting the mortal realms. Sangors and Slangors will remain amongst the followers of their patron deities. But the wild great phrase following the Chaos Undivided will soon be repackaged, boom, and return to terrorize the forests of the Old World. So yeah, so they are disappearing from Age of Sigmar, with the exception of those that are aligned to their specific gods, and we can use them in Old World as well. Although I hear that the like the Sangors and Slangors are actually slightly larger miniatures, so might not quite fit on the bases so easy. But there we go. So yeah, great. Good to see these are coming back. Like I say, these are like early 2000s when these boys came out, and these guys. So yeah, and the Centaurs as well, and the Shaggoth. So these were like the 6th edition ones. Oh, that Tuskor Chariot is actually even older, I think. I can't remember whether that was 6th edition or whether it was something from 5th. Some of the parts are older, but yes, there we go. Cool. All right. Very good. And they've called that out in this one that they're coming back to Warhammer the Old World. They didn't call that out up here, but I mean, Savage Orcs exist in Warhammer the Old World, so there's no reason for them not to come back. And what else have we got down here? Yep. So that's Dryker. I vaguely recollect them seeing some massive Dryker in Age of Sigmar, but this is the old 6th edition. When did what else come out? Yeah, they came out in 6th edition. 6th edition Dryker. Yeah, some shamans as well. Well, they've already said that the shamans will be coming back. So yeah, good to know. And he's just got a Blood Bowl version as well. But yeah, there we are. Okay, cool. So yeah, Beastmen are coming back. Orcs are coming. They haven't said it, but they are coming back. And I reckon all this lot is coming back to Old World. Maybe it's going to be a year or so, but still, we'll see them again. They are not gone for long. Cool. All right. Well, that was a fun little kind of look through and see what's coming up. It's good to know that stuff is moving along with Old World. This may be a sign that Beastmen are coming back in the not too distant future. I don't know how long it's taken. What we've got, our third faction, Orcs and Goblins. Did the pre-orders have gone out already in March. So will we get a faction every month? I don't know. But it could be, or like a pre-order every month maybe. I don't know when dwarves are, when the dwarf pre-order is going out. Did it say on the dwarf article when the pre-order is happening? Let's have a quick look. What am I looking for? Old World. Oh no, yes, it was Depticon. Here we go. Blah blah blah. New miniatures. Made to order. Orders and kits. I think I do want that kit. I do have a limited edition battle standard bearer though, but it's a nice standard. I do like it. We'll see. We'll see. No, it doesn't say yet, does it? Okay, fine. So I don't know if we know when the dwarves are going on pre-order. So yeah, so maybe this month. I would guess they'll go on pre-order this month, maybe end of this month. If that's the case, we're getting an army every month. If it's not the case, if it's like, what are we, April now? If they go on pre-order in May, then what's that, like half of the factions? You know what? It did say in this one actually how long we've got. We aim to do this forever. Well, that's good to know. We have planned books for the next X amount of years. We have all these miniatures planned and clear ideas of what we're working towards. We have to get there. And the setting over 9 arcane journals. Once that's done, who knows? Yeah. So they haven't committed to anything here. It's going to take a long time. So who knows? Maybe expecting everything to come out by the end of this year for each of the armies is probably a little bit optimistic. But could it be Beastmen next? Maybe it's Beastmen after Dwarves. I think that's where'd it go? Oh, I've got rid of it. I think that's quite a good sign though. The Beastmen are going off sale. But then things like the High Elves aren't available anymore, the Empire aren't available anymore. So who knows? Maybe Beastmen are the last army to be returning. Who knows? We'll have to see. All right, cool. Well, that was a fun little bit of musing, seeing some of the new news that has come out, and yeah, hopefully that was interesting. And thanks for watching, and catch you in the next episode.